back to Farming the Decades. Yes, let's embrace the rebranding. So at Maypole Farm, the last time we are going to be at Maypole Farm in general. So the goal for today is to clear out some of the crops from DS Agri that can be sold, move the rest over to here. We are going to sell off all of the land. We are going to make final payments on anything that is leased so that it's owned, or we'll return it if we don't need it. I'm going to get those bales out of the field and get those stacked, and then everything that we don't need to keep here is going to be loaded up and shipped over to Glenlarden, and we're going to get sorted there. So yeah, I actually recorded this video originally as an almost live, but it kind of all went a bit pear-shaped. I was rushing it, so I ended up actually throwing everything away and going back to the save game backup and doing it again because I just was not happy. So yeah, I think that's everything that I need to get done today. So the way this is going to work is one of the Deutzes, the Fiat 180 Agri and the Zetor are staying here with the feed mixer, a couple of trailers and things like the straw blower. And basically through the winter they're going to the cows are going to be looked after, the milk's going to be sold, any leftover grain will be sold off when the price is good, and that's how all that's going to work. And that means that the entity that is the farm, so you can see we've got the bales stacked away. I couldn't be bothered to show another load of bale stacking, but yep, done that. The entity that is the farm will have an income, which is kind of cool. So yeah, as I said, we've got from DS Agri's contracting work, there is some wheat, some barley, some oats and some canola, and the price is, whilst not its highest, is actually pretty good. We're going to lose a little bit, so might as well get that sold, get the cash in. There is some sorghum, soybeans and corn that are going to come back to the silo here to be kept until the price is good. The soybeans probably will have to get loaded into a trailer and bring over to Glenlarden. We'll keep those for a bit of a mid-summer income hit. But yeah, so I've got my 7810 on its way over with the West or Stuart trailer. With the trailer, we've got DS Agri's 27810s with the red rocks, and we're just going to get all this done. I'm going to show you bits and pieces of it, but not a lot. And this is the bit that went a bit wrong because it ended up taking me a very long time, and I had so much video with random bits of talking over it that were going to be impossible to edit into something coherent that I was happy with. So yeah, I'm doing it this way. I think it's a much better video. I'll talk about the move in a bit, but yeah, we're just gonna used a bunch of auto drive to get this done. It was a Saturday afternoon job, I think it was, and yeah, we are going to be moving to Scotland in November, which is going to be interesting from a weather point of view because it does have realistic weather. I'm not actually sure how much farming work we're going to get done through the winter. It might just be that we have to batten down the hatches and wait for spring, or see if we can pick up a patch of forestry land. So one thing I am going to do, I was going to talk about later, but I'll talk about now while we're doing this. So mentioned before, we're going to take out a mortgage to buy the new farm. The capital for that mortgage is held in all the vehicles here, and what I originally intended to do was keep the loan on this save until I was ready to completely stop it, because this is going to have income from milk. What I'm actually thinking now is I might move it across to the new save after December, because I've already done December in the background, and just have the dairy send the income over, and then we'll make the loan payment out of that. I think it'll be more obvious to you guys what's happening with the loan, because otherwise it'll just be invisible, because it'll live on a bit of the save that you probably won't see, because once we move off of here, I might come back occasionally, or towards at the end when we've finished all the feeding and the cows have moved, to see what's left and do that kind of thing. Probably will sell whatever's left, I think, because the idea is that the cows will stay here probably until the grass is growing enough that they can come and graze, and we'll have some grass mown and that kind of thing. That is the plan. Here was actually a decent amount of grain stored. The other thing I meant to say is that going through this process, I am essentially collapsing everything down to be owned by one farm. So if you've been really observant, you'll see on Simple Inspector it's all under Maypole Farm now. So I did a bunch of work in the XML files to transfer all of the vehicles, all of the land, all of the buildings across to Maypole Farm. So that just kind of makes it easier for some of the selling and stuff is all. And doing the loan, obviously, because the loan is based on the capital that's in the kit and the land, but we'll have sold the land by the time we get around to taking the loan out. So the only bit of land that I plan to keep is where the farm is, so that we can keep the cows. So to sell this plot, we need to sell the pasture, so we'll do that. Rather than going into the menu for changing clothes, that's the one, and we'll just sell this off. The theory was brilliant for this. It's just the time, it would have been nice if we'd brought it earlier, I guess. Anywho, last load, I think, going up. So this is a trailer full of wheat. There are corn and soybeans on their way over to the silo at the farm. It's a nice full trailer of oats. This is the reward for all of the hard work that the guys did over in DS Agri, doing all those contracting jobs in the summertime. And really it was those and all the baling contracts that let us buy all the kit that we did at that kind of August, September point. 16 grand's worth of oats there. I remember all these harvesting contracts were really small. They were all sort of like 2, 3, 4 grand jobs mostly. So I think I've tipped soybeans in. The silo is basically full, which surprised me, but obviously it's quite a small silo. Yes, we're not doing this separate bins for separate crops thing. Maybe I should be. Maybe we can do that on Glenlethan. So yeah, you can see we've got a mixture in there, but we've still got some corn left. So I think I might have tried again to tip it, being dumb, but in the end just tipped it on the floor. I was suffering over the weekend with the heat again. It's slightly better today. I say that it's 27 degrees in here just from like the ambient heat. Right, I think now we are going to attempt to sell some land. So we can't sell the farmyard because it's got lots of buildings on it. It's a bit annoying. I'll do that in the XML afterwards. I have to use easy dev. So we'll sell plot 3, 27-ish grand, another 28 grand, 92. So one thing that's really important to remember is that the land in Scotland is like 2.5 times the price. So that's why we're having to take out the mortgage to pay for it rather than being able to just take this money across. The farm is, I think, £678,000, the new farm. So yep, so I've used easy dev to give that back as well. The vehicles will all be shipped out from there and all the kit, that's fine. And I've added back in the 16 odd grand that it was worth, or 19 grand, whatever it was. I don't remember. So we've got £444,000 left. I was confused at this point because we had less money than when I did this the first time, and that's because I'd forgotten that DS Agri has £100,000 in the bank that I needed to transfer across, which I do later when I remember. But we're going to buy £78,000 to pay off that 7810. We're going to pay off the Merlot, which is £67,000. I'm going to return the slurry tanker. We're going to get a bigger one when we're over in Glenlethan. Windrower can be returned as well because we own another one, so we don't need that. The baler we're going to make the payment on, so £66,000. The two, they're forestry trailers technically, but we use them as bale trailers. We'll be purchasing both of those. and I think that leaves the milk tanker, which we're also going to purchase. So that's wiped out quite a bit of money, 300, nearly 300,000, 270,000, something like that. So a lot less cash in the bank now, but we now own all of the kit. And that's important going forwards because not using a lease to own on the new save. So we'll have to use the enhanced loan mod if we need to finance vehicles. Which I'm really enjoying on Saxthorpe. So yeah, and now we're going to take out the loan that we need. So originally I took a £500,000 loan out because I forgot to move, but I've forgotten to move the money. So we're doing 575,000 over 5 years because it's a mortgage. 5 years in Farm Sim is about that in real world time. I do remember that, but at the moment we're looking at 10,600. But I remembered. So I think almost instantly we're going to come back and we're going to do the loan again. But at this point, the movers have been, and there is a lot less stuff on the farm. It's very strange. So there are a few pallets of stuff left about. Might leave those for the new farmer that comes in that eventually buys this yard. But yeah, there's a lot less stuff. But I did remember that DS Agri has a bunch of money. So we're going to move that to Maypole, and then I'm going to resort the loan out for the amount I actually want to borrow. One thing I have done, which I'm going to have to deal with, is the milk tanker got shipped off. So we're going to have to lease another milk tanker through the winter. I could just move it back, but I didn't want to. We made the mistake. We're going to have to live with it. So yeah, we don't need £891,000. So we can reduce the loan amount. So rather than just paying a chunk off, I'm going to cancel it and get a new loan, so that the repayment is smaller. So we're going to do a special redemption of the whole £575,000. How annoyed would the bank be? I was originally thinking I'd do 75,000, but that means I would keep the slightly higher monthly payment, which I didn't want. So, how much would you pay in admin fees to do this in the real world? I think it'd be quite a lot. So that's that one repaid. And we can now borrow the actual one. Because I've moved over stuff out, it limits the amount we can borrow more, because all the capital is now over on its way to Scotland. So that's a thing. And but I'm going to move the loan across. I wasn't going to, but I am going to at some point. But instead, we don't need to borrow anywhere near as much now, thankfully, because we can't borrow anywhere near as much because the capital was in the vehicles. We're going to borrow 420,000. We might need to take another smaller loan out when we get to Glenlarvan, over 5 years. So it's going to be £7,800 a month, and that gives us 736,000 in the bank. We need 678,000. So here we are in our farm in Scotland, and everything has been put away. The weather forecast is awful. So we've got rain pretty much all day until a little window in the evening, and then snow. So we could plant some crops in November. There are some harvesting contracts going in November. We could cut our grass. There's a whole load of stuff we could do in November, but the weather is awful. So we're probably not going to be able to. I'll talk about that a bit more in a bit. But yeah, so there's all these baling contracts, whole load of fertilizers. There's just so much work that we could get DS Agri in to start cracking on with. But the ground is so wet that I don't think you would. So just as a reminder, we own fields 1, 7, and 2. 7 and 2 both have grass in, which is ready to harvest. We have our pasture as well. And then field 1 was potatoes, but has been harvested. 1 and 7 need ploughing, which is what I was going to get on with. I was going to plough field 1 in, but the weather is pretty grim. So yeah, not doing that. So I'm going to try and play this like I was playing FS19 season. So we're going to have the effects of that. And I'm going to try and go by realistic farming methods. So with it hammering it down with rain, I don't think we'd be ploughing and planting and mowing and all that kind of stuff. So I think we're going to have to just leave the field work. Like I said, there's that little window we've got, and maybe we could get some grass mowed and baled. Get some hay bales or some silage bales in the shed. So we've got some fermenting over winter. That is probably the best I can hope for, I think. And then over the winter, if we get some days where the ground's not hard, we can disc that in, going to split field 1 into 2 fields. Field 7, I am going to plough the grass in the spring and split that into 2 fields. So we've got 4 arable fields. And then field 2 is going to be our grass pasture that we will be mowing for bales or indirect grazing or whatever. So, yeah, that's the farm. So we should make the payment that we need to make. So I brought £725,000 across from Maypole. There was a bit of cash left there. We'll just kind of balance it between the two. So there's the payment for the farm made. Leaves us £47,000 in the bank. Let's have a bit of a look around. So got most of the vehicles in this big shed here. So I had a real nightmare with getting everything in. I moved everything across into the new save, got 75% of it put away, and something bugged through the map and the game just died. It was like, there's the milk tanker I should have left in Ireland. It's Ireland, Maypole. My tractor. Yeah, something bugged into the map and it just sat at 1 FPS and I couldn't recover it. So I had to do the whole moving all the kit twice, which was a pain. But it's done and it's in, and yeah, everything is one farm here and it's probably going to stay as one farm. So that's going to be an interesting challenge for me with the multiplayer aspect with patrons. So yeah, in fact, we'll say at this point, thank you to the patrons and the YouTube channel members. If any of you are interested in that stuff, there are links below. The patrons have access to play multiplayer on here with doing the contracting business that runs on here. So if you're interested in that, you can join up. But yeah, it's pretty grim. And as I say, I want to play, this is meant to be hard mode. So I'm just going to ignore the weather. So the weather's bad. I don't think we would be doing any field work. We're going to get the soil information brought. Again, we're going to be relying on the agronomist to do that. So 8 grand for the first one, 8 grand for the second one, and 5 grand, 5.5 for the third one. So that's most of our money gone, but the lime looks okay. The pH is not. So yeah, we could do with doing some liming. Actually, that's got plenty of nitrogen in it, so it might be all right. But yeah, that needs a plough. That needs a plough. That's not our field. I would like to get that one in the future. Get this whole corner brought. The grass should be okay to mow. Some of the pH is not great, but I think if we could get a dry spot, we could get this mowed and baled for silage. Maybe mow it, run the tedder over it, get it baled quick. At least some of it. But I think part of this is going to have to be accepting that sometimes the weather is going to get the better of us and affect what we get, which is going to be tough. It's going to suck. So yeah. Anyway, I said it's just stayed raining. It's going to be raining until the evening, where I might try and get some silage bales off in the next video. But that's it for today. I'm sorry it's a short video. This took so much work. This literally took me over a day to record. So yeah, that's why the video is slightly shorter. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, click the like button. Comments, questions, suggestions. Should I, do you think playing within the weather is a good thing? I like it, so kind of tough if you don't. If you've just found the channel because of Glenlathan, then think about subscribing. We'll be playing on here as go forwards, and I will see you next time on Farming the Decades.